A few years ago, I built this thing here, and what it is a depth stop for the drill press, and it's also a holder for the key. And over the years, this has worked really well for me. The only problem is I made it out of wood to begin with. I think this is Sapele, actually. And, you know, sliding up and down on this threaded rod here has worn it out a bit, so it doesn't tighten up anymore. Now, I could repair it by cutting in a bit further here so it'll pinch together tighter, but I thought I would make a new one from a piece of aluminum instead. One thing I learned from using this over the past few years is that I really like it, and I don't intend to return the nuts. There are normally two nuts that lock together. I hated that, to be honest. It was, you know, wheeling them up, wheeling them down, trying to get them tight with no finger room there. It was just annoying. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this threaded thing out of here, and I'm going to flatten it on both sides rather than leave it, you know, sharpened with this edge here that cuts in, so that it'll work better with what I have in mind. So I'm just going to take it and clamp it in my vise. I'm going to do the work with a file only. I'm not going to go crazy with it. I just want to get rid of that very sharp edge where the teeth are, and then flip it over to the back side and file those teeth down as well. When I look at the original here, I like the size of it. I like the length of it. I like where the key is out here. I like where this knob is. I never found that it was in the way or my hand got hung up on anything while I was trying to turn it. So I'm going to use this as a pattern for the new one. I'm going to cut 2 pieces of aluminum to the right length to match this. Now that I've got both pieces cut to length and cleaned up, I've made marks on them to make a shallow notch in each one, and that's what will fit over that threaded rod so that I'll be able to clamp onto it to make adjustments to the depth. Now, I could do this by hand, but I've got the equipment, so I decided to put a special blade in my saw that's made for cutting metal, and I'll do the cuts on here and save myself some time. Okay, so that fits really well. It'll clamp onto it without bottoming out. What I have here now is I have the 2 pieces put together with my fingers. I've got a washer, a 1/4-inch washer, in between to add a little bit of space. The idea is that this needs to go down over the rod, slide smoothly up and down over the rod. If I can hold the darn thing properly, we'll get there. Hold this, this is supposed to slide up and down smoothly over the rod, and then when you clamp it, or when you tighten the knob, it'll clamp tightly on there. And that looks like it's just right. The first thing I need to do is drill 2 holes in the end here. I've marked the precise location for those with my calipers, and now I'm going to drill a 5/32 inch hole to tap out, and a 3/16 inch hole to drill out for the screw to fit through. And now to tap out the smaller hole, I'm just going to mount it in my drill and do it like that. I put the thing back on, and I can see I get a little bit of a problem. When it comes down, it hits that nut that's in there, so I'm going to have to notch the back of this out a little bit to clear that. Next, I need to make the hole for the key to fit in, and I don't want that to be too tight. I want to be able to just drop it in, so I'm going to make the hole oversized. An oversized for this key would be 5/16. I'm going to start that though with a step drill. Since I'm drilling into a gap here, I think that the step drill will handle that better. Now with that hole drilled, I've got just one more hole to drill, and that's for the carriage bolt that the knob will screw onto that'll clamp this thing onto the threaded rod. This is a 1/4 inch carriage bolt, and I drilled the hole a little bit oversized, and I think that I'm going to be able to drive the square part of the carriage bolt into that hole. I wasn't able to drive it all the way in, but I'm going to take this older chisel here and chip out the rest so that it will go all the way in. With the bolt all the way in, I got the knob put on. The only thing left to do is to try it out. I'll slip it on. And this is adjustable from, the bottom right up to the top. And the thing about it is how quickly you can do that. You slide it, put it in place, tighten it up, and after you've finished messing around with your bit, put the key up there. It's always up there, very convenient. And then that acts as a stop as well.